I want to play some sound, just staying on the VP thing, because I think you're right, and we got some sound from Trump's. We have some sound from Trump's non-practice town hall. But before we get there, one thing about the Pence thing. I mean, I headlined today that the 2020 race had begun, and Tom Cotton apparently has showed up in Iowa. And, like giving speeches that sound like not even talking about Donald Trump, right? He's just talking about himself. One of the things that was pretty clear and interesting about the VP debate was that, yes, I think Pence came off better in some ways than Tim Kaine, but in terms of, a vice presidential debate, no one is really voting for a vice president. I mean, I think like Sarah Palin hurt John McCain uniquely because her pick so went to contrary to the narrative he was setting up. I'm a maverick. I'm not one of these lunatics.
And I'm experienced with the military experience, whatever, and so I'm a guy that thinks hard about things and doesn't just do crazy stuff.
Right, and it was all controverted by picking Sarah Palin. But there's no way Mike Pence or Tim Kaine is going to make the difference in and of themselves.
Nope.
So the
a point
idea
or two in their home states is what everybody says, and I think
Indiana's already
Indiana would have gone red this time no matter what, and Virginia has become such a blue state. I mean, maybe it helps.
Maybe it helps.
Maybe a little bit having Kaine there, yeah.
But in terms of the debate, it's not the same as a presidential debate where you want the viewer to be like, I like that person, I'm going to vote for them, or I feel comfortable with them, etc. The vice president doesn't have the same relationship. So acting as a hammer,
they're a little more like a pundit. I mean,
Yeah.
It's a little more kind of like when you go on some shows on MSNBC or I go on some things, which is, I want to make my points. I don't care. I'm not on there for people to like me. In the end, I'm on the, and I think that's what you're doing. You're trying to drive those points.
Yes. And one thing that Mike Pence did is he simply protected himself.
Yeah.
And here he is. This is Mike Pence, and this is part of the follow-up, and this is sort of precious, right? Mike Pence has all but basically said, like, Donald who at this point. Here he is he with Chris Cuomo, I guess it is, on CNN. You can watch it right there, Cliff. Put your headphones on, and you'll be able to hear it. And here he is just sort of like following up on this week's debate. And just listen. You don't have to listen too carefully to see where Mike Pence is trying to put himself at arm's length. Here it is.
Talked about putting the security of the American people first.
Right, but he has also said,
made
Governor,
clear our
that
position
Muslims
is we're going to suspend immigration from countries compromised by terrorism.
But, Governor, that is a finessed position. We both know that where he started was saying there is a problem with Islam, that Muslims should be kept out of the country. You condemned those comments, and you did so strongly as the governor of Indiana when you were backing Ted Cruz. You said we can't say that. When he said what he said about Judge Curiel, not making it about the case, but about his ethnicity, you condemned those comments. Why do you not condemn them now?
Well, because it's not Donald Trump's position now. Look, you've known him for a long time, Chris. I haven't known him that long at all. But what you see in Donald Trump is a man who has built an extraordinary business.
I haven't known him that long at all. I just
passed him in a hallway once.
Yeah, exactly. Like a lot of this stuff is surprising me, and I can't wait until November 9th when I can say, like, I found about a lot of stuff recently in the past 24 hours that really upset me.
That was a great interview, Mike.
I was wrong. He was
Thanks.
terrible. So the thing is, over that 48 hours, I would say the person who had the worst day and night was Ted Cruz. Because he's the guy with all the right-wing positions courting the evangelicals that everybody just doesn't like, right? I mean, he just is an unlikable guy. Mike Pence, as much as I don't like him because I know what he's really about, if you're someone who doesn't follow this stuff closely, he's the friendly face of crazy right-wing policies. As is Paul Ryan. As to a certain degree, he doesn't smile as much. He certainly frowns too much. But Tom Cotton at least doesn't come off as nasty. So I'm not surprised. Those are the guys. Yep. I think Cruz is in a lot of trouble in staying. And then, of course, that video comes out of Cruz making phone calls for Donald Trump like, yeah, I know he insulted my dad and said he assassinated JFK and thinks my wife ain't so hot and called me Lion Ted. But, yeah, vote for him.
I actually think that was not a coincidence that we saw that video this week.
Trump dominance.
I don't think it's just about Trump dominance. I think it's about what you're talking about. I mean, I think that Mike Pence basically just
bet.
moved into pole position, was like, we're going to show. I mean, they have redone that picture many times, and right behind Ted Cruz, it says, like conservative.
I know.
There's a sign there, and I think honestly, because
seeing Ted Cruz that sad. I mean, I hate to say it, but it really makes me happy.
no, I know.
It's sort of warmth you don't get from much else in life.
Well, do you think he's in trouble in a Senate primary challenge?
If Rick Perry,
let alone president.
They've said that if Rick Perry were to run against him right now, he's up 10 or 12 points in a primary. I mean, that may have changed. That was before he endorsed Trump.
Yeah.
So
it's a little early to.
But I'm just saying, even if he had to have a difficult, because where does Perry go from here? I mean, there are other shows besides Dancing with the Stars. I'm sure he can go to, right? I mean, the E channel itself must have a potpourri.
I'm sure there's plenty of places.
But if he wants to run for office again, being that he's been governor of Texas like 15 times, and what else does he do? Maybe he does run against Cruz. I don't know. In any case, point being, Cruz is not what he was, and incredibly unlikable right winger. If one of these more likable ones can get up there, they're the ones that worry me, because they're the ones the media is not nearly as good. They're good at calling somebody a jerk who acts like a jerk. They're not good at calling somebody a jerk because they want to force them to, if a woman who has miscarriages, to have a funeral for the fetus, which is something that Mike Pence supports.
Hey folks, Sam Seder here. I just got back from a company-wide meeting. Accounting is really coming down on me hard. We need to get to 100,000 subscribers as soon as possible. So please enjoy this channel. Subscribe right down there.